They came with a clipboard, loud rules, and fake authority telling a retired tech guy to move his ugly boat within 48 hours. What they didn't know, that boat belonged to his grandfather. And the whole lake? It was already his. What started as a simple HOA warning became a full legal war, one that would expose lies, tear down the HOA, and remind a town who the lake really belonged to. If you've ever been underestimated, this story will hit deep. Stick around till the end. You won't believe how one old photo changed everything. After years in the tech world, Jason Moore thought retiring early meant peace. He moved to his family's old lake house where summers once felt endless, and his grandfather used to fish from the same old boat now tied near the dock. But just 3 days in, a sharp knock changed everything. A woman in sunglasses and a stiff smile held out a paper. You have 48 hours to move that unsightly boat. HOA rules. Or you'll face daily fines. Jason blinked. Excuse me. That ugly boat? His grandfather built it by hand. And more importantly, his family owned the entire lake since the 1950s. The HOA, run by a man named Eric Dawson, clearly hadn't done their research. Out of curiosity, Jason started digging. What he found: shocking. For years, the HOA had been running fishing tournaments on the lake, charging people money without a single word to Jason's family. They were using his property for their profits. But it got worse. Eric wasn't just running tournaments. Jason uncovered whispers of something deeper, a luxury resort deal quietly being pitched to investors, using the lake as a selling point. Jason's mind was spinning. This wasn't just about a boat. This was about ownership, legacy, and a group who thought they could bully anyone into silence. But they picked the wrong man. He looked out at the quiet lake, the sun reflecting off the same water his grandfather once called sacred. Jason wasn't just going to fight back. He was going to remind them who really owned the shoreline. Jason didn't rush. He wanted every detail perfect. With Lena, his lifelong friend and a brilliant lawyer, they began working quietly behind the scenes. While the HOA kept sending threats about boat removal violations, Jason installed hidden cameras that captured dozens of unauthorized anglers trespassing during private fishing tournaments. Lena dug through courthouse records and pulled out the original land deeds, clearly proving Jason's family owned the entire lake, not just the shoreline. But the real gold came when she hacked into a shared folder used by Eric's investor group and found emails where Eric claimed full lake ownership, offering it as a guaranteed asset for a future luxury resort. Jason waited. The next big fishing event was set for Sunday morning, with banners, tickets, and over 100 guests expected. At exactly 11:20 a.m., while the crowd laughed and cheered, Jason walked into the crowd wearing a calm smile, followed by 2 sheriffs and Lena, holding a court order. Eric froze. Jason stepped on the stage and calmly spoke. This event is over, and so is your scam. Eric tried shouting, "You'll regret this." Jason simply pulled out his phone and pressed play. On the speaker came Eric's own voice. The lake? Yeah, technically it's not mine, but they'll never know. Silence hit the crowd like a wave. Then came the noise, angry shouts, curses, demands. Some tore up their tickets, others stormed off. A few HOA board members quit on the spot. Jason stood tall. He wasn't just a retired tech guy with a boat. He was the rightful owner, and he had just crushed an entire scam with facts, law, and truth. After the public takedown of Eric Dawson, things moved fast. OA members resigned one after the other, trying to save face, while furious residents demanded full refunds for the so-called lake maintenance fees they had been forced to pay for years, fees that had clearly been going straight into Eric's pocket and his fake resort dreams. But Jason wasn't interested in revenge anymore. He had made his point. What mattered now was honoring the one person who had built all of this, his grandfather, who always believed water was something sacred, never something to sell or gate off from the community. So, Jason met with the conservation group, transferred full ownership of the lake into a public trust, and placed legal protections around it to ensure that no one HOA, investor or developer could ever touch it again. On a quiet afternoon, as the autumn wind moved across the lake, Jason found an old photo buried in a wooden chest inside the cabin. It showed his grandfather smiling wide, fishing from the same boat the HOA once called unsightly. At the bottom of the photo, written in fading ink, were words that hit hard. Sometimes standing your ground builds something better. Jason placed the photo on the wall above the fireplace and sat outside watching the lake. Kids were laughing, birds circling above, and fishermen casting lines freely again. The water shimmered, peaceful, free, and unclaimed by power agreed. That boat didn't just survive the battle, it saved everything.